Well, hello, everybody. I am Dan Fiorino, Director of the Center for Environmental Policy in the School of Public Affairs at American University. I'm here today with Monica Ellis from the Global Environmental Technology Foundation. Monica was one of two winners in the spring of 2020 of the William K. Reilly Environmental Leadership Award. So welcome, Monica.
Thanks, Dan. Nice to be here.
And congratulations on your award. So we thought we could talk, how did you get into the water field? Can you tell us a bit about your background and how you moved into working on water sustainability?
Sure. Well, I think I've always been drawn to water. I grew up in the Midwest, actually on the banks of a great river, the Mississippi River. And in my early career, I was a journalist. And from there was invited to be part of the strategic planning unit with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Now, the Corps is not as being one of the most leading sustainability organizations in the world, but we had a general at the time, General Hatch, who was very much an outlier, and his focus was on bringing engineers into the mainstream on sustainability and really helping them translate science into sustainable products and technologies. So working in that strategic planning unit, that my goal was to help modernize the Corps and have them focus on more sustainability. And as part of that, I was also selected to be part of the delegation that was going to be the US delegation that was attending the Earth Summit in Rio. And I think that is where I first met Mr. Reilly as well. So that is kind of where the seeds were planted, was really during that stint in the strategic planning unit, it sounds boring, of the US Army Corps, but focused on issues of sustainability. And at a time in the country when we were starting to focus more on sustainability as well, and globally. And so out of the Earth Summit, as you know, we had Agenda 21, which was meant to set the sustainable development agenda for the 21st century. No small aspiration. Around that time, after the Earth Summit, I was invited out to help co-found the Global Environment and Technology Foundation, which was really focused on partnerships for sustainable development and action. So I took that opportunity, and I've been leading the foundation and some of its various platforms since the early 2000s.
And very good. So you really moved into this field over time. You do, I think you do some work with developing countries. Mm-hmm. Could you talk a bit about what some of the big issues are in developing countries and what GETF does with them?
Sure. So we work across the world. We're actually working in about 77 countries. So when we started the foundation, we were primarily domestic focused. Over time, we've really evolved into addressing the needs of developing countries, and particularly on water. And the key issues really focus on climate change and urbanization. The same thing you see in developed countries, just sometimes on a more scale. So across Africa right now, we're working in 41 countries. Primary issues that we're working on are clean water access and also helping improve healthcare systems, so health system strengthening. On the water side, we're focused on everything from working with urban utilities and helping them evolve their business models to address urbanization and people coming into the cities for jobs, but also to identify and site infrastructure in rural communities and provide water access to those who've been without, to cut down the times individuals need to walk, women in particular, and children, to collect water, to put necessary sanitation in place so that there is a dignified place to go to the bathroom, and then also to emphasize the importance of hand washing, which is so important, particularly this year with the pandemic.
Yeah, we in countries like the United States, we tend to take for granted having access to clean and safe water, and just some of the basics of water treatment and water management. So very challenging in developing countries.
I think it's really a full force multiplier kind of issue, water, for any community. It starts their whole pathway to development. For women in particular, having water in the community allows more time to do other things, to make a living, to have food security. So water for me has been a real wedge issue. It's something that affects everything else that you do. And it's, where I decided, I guess, to master class in my career is on water access and providing sanitation in the developing world. But there are issues here at home. I would say in the last 2 years, particularly, we've been working more closely with the Navajo Nation, with some great implementing partners there. There's about 2 million people in the United States that don't have access to piped water in their home as well. So that's an issue we've started to tackle. We've collaborated with Stanford, with UNC and others to help get an action plan together. And we're starting to mobilize and raise funds for those pockets of water insecurity in the United States. There's another 44 million, Dan, that don't have access to safe water. So they might have piped water, but it's not safe. That's coming through and it needs to be treated in other ways before it's safe for development.
Can you tell us a bit about the Global Water Challenge, what that is and what GETF is doing?
Well, the Global Water Challenge started actually at the UN Foundation in 2006, and it was spun out of there. It's a coalition of implementing organizations who work on water, sanitation, hygiene, corporations, and foundations, and all of them together advocating for clean water access for all. And that's really what we focus on. And so the way that we do that is we identify promising models for water access, we trial them, we pilot them, and then when successful, we scale them by raising large sums of money, by getting the action plan together, by focusing all of these different actors who have different goals and objectives and sustainability targets, focusing them on a unique geographic area and a business model and going after it. So that's what we do. We're a coalition. And some of the things that we're really working on in the coming year are taking the data that we've collected through. Data sounds very boring, but it's actually very exciting. You think that you can take the data and help governments make a better plan for serving their citizens. So we have a platform called WPDX. We're focused on that and taking all of these different water points that we've collected in different countries around the world and putting together plans in partnership with water ministries to help determine the best place to site water points, where water points are in need of repair, what's the fastest path, and how many water points serve the most number of people. That's one of the things that GWC focuses upon. The second is we're really focused on the intersection of women and water. So through helping provide over 6 million people with clean water access, we've learned quite a bit. One of the things that we've learned is that when our programs that were led by women seem to have the most lasting outcomes and were done the most cost effectively. So pulling on those themes, we partnered with the Coca-Cola Foundation, USAID, and Ipsos, the leading research firm, and they went into these various countries, identified and interviewed the women in 3 different countries where we had done interventions about all of the different pathways that were opened up as a result of water in their community. And it was really interesting research. We found about 8 different pathways. The research is called the ripple effect. It basically was looking at improved nutrition, improved time, of course, time savings, improved health outcomes, more agency and advocacy for women in the community as a result of that water. Just a lot of different multiplier effects that we saw. And so taking that research, what we've done, Dan, is create a couple of platforms that really raise awareness about the importance of water to women in their communities. Women, as you know, reinvest 9% of their income back into communities. So that's very important. But also, we started an awareness and a fundraising platform through GWC called Women for Water. Our goal is to reach 10,000 communities. We're just at about 1,000, so we have a ways to go. 10,000 communities by 2030, and that's one of our major focus areas. Second, on the awareness part, we've been teaming up lately with female athletes, Olympians, 2-time Super Bowl winning football players who advocate for clean water, Chris Long and the Chris Long Foundation, to really bring U.S. women into this mobilization of awareness and fundraising for clean water for communities, primarily in Africa, but here in the U.S. as well.
Oh, that's quite a range of activities. And I like how you sort of use water as a kind of intervention point that then working on that then delivers lots of other kinds of benefits that improve people's lives. So that's very impressive.
It all starts with water, that's for sure.
Yeah, very good. And if you could, Monica, travel back in time to early in your career, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh, well, I'm always somebody who really focuses on moving forward. That's my primary direction. But I thought about this question a little bit, and I think the advice that I did receive early in my career by my longtime business partner, Tom Harvey, who started the foundation, is really to work on issues you care about with people you like. And that can be any issue, really. For me, it's always issues around sustainability. But when you're also working with people who set a high bar for themselves and that you like and you do the same, it doesn't really feel like work. And so for me, that's the advice that I did receive and I've really followed throughout my career. I also have tried to really, I would say to young people, we've had thousands of young people come through the foundation, but it's to really know yourself. Like that's kind of the recipe for a happy life. If you know yourself and be driven to those things that bring you energy, you're going to be fine and you're going to make a difference in the world. But if you set that bar high, you might be surprised at how far you go.
Well, that's terrific advice. And I'm sure our students and other people early in their careers will benefit greatly from it, Monica. So thank you very much. We've been talking today with Monica Ellis from the Global Environmental Technology Foundation, winner of the 2020 William K. Reilly Environmental Leadership Award. Thank you, Monica, and we hope to see you in person real soon.
Thank you. It's an honor.